Welcome to Contracts and Championships by TWSportsManagement. Your inside look at the world of snooker and beyond. We go behind the scenes of the tour with real stories, sharp insights and unfiltered conversations you won't hear anywhere else. From player form to life on tour, breaking news and the sport's future, we're covering it all with personal takes and special guests. This is Sports Unplugged.
Welcome back to Contracts and Championships. We are joined by the 2024 World Champion, Kyren Wilson. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome, brother.
I know it's quite weird, really, that I'm sat next to you talking to you normally. Before we get into the podcast, a very different setup today. Obviously, we're going to take a look through your career a little bit and kind of take a little bit of a dive into what you were thinking, what you were feeling, everything about snooker that fans don't really get to understand and what fans don't really get to see. So before we go through it, obviously 2015 is our starting point, it's the reference point from now. But 2016 Indian Open Final, 2017 Yushan World Open Final, 2017 English Open Final, 2018 Masters Final, 2018 Bull Hunter Classic win,
Wait.
2018 Six Reds winner, 2018 Champions of Champions loser in the final, 2018 semi-finalist of the World Champs, 2020 Welsh Open Final, 2020 World Championship Final, 2020 Championship League, 2021 Championship League, 2021 semi-final of the World Champs, 22 runner-up in Gibraltar, 22 you won the European Masters, 2023 Tour Championships Final, 2024 World Champion Xi'an, Northern Ireland, 2025 Masters Final, 2025 German Masters Players Champs, and Shanghai Masters. So far, reading all that, bit of a mad career.
Yeah, I think obviously there's a lot of finals early on. Obviously, my first one I won in Shanghai in 2015, and then had a few sort of heartbreaks, losing in finals and stuff like that. But I feel like I used them to kind of grow a bit stronger. And then obviously off the back of winning the World Championships, I feel like that was a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. And obviously was really, really consistent after that. And yeah, gone on to achieve some pretty cool things.
That is actually something that I said to Katie, is that when you won one of the big ones, that was going to be it then. It was going to be floodgates open. And it was going to be kind of a stream of wins after that. It's kind of getting the monkey off your shoulder sort of aspect.
Yeah, I was always taught from a very young age that winning becomes a habit. So the more you win, the more it becomes a habit, and the more you kind of crave that feeling. And not only that, I think confidence-wise, it's going to give you that boost that you were probably lacking. So yeah, obviously that boost came from winning the World Championships.
Well, I've made like a little video here. A little Gogglebox series. So those of you that are watching on YouTube or on Spotify Premium, where you can watch the podcast, we are currently looking at the 2015 Shanghai Masters final. So obviously this now, you're into the... is this 9? Yeah, 9-0. This is a decider against Judd. First off, that red. When you take this on now, this red, and you miss it, what are your first thoughts about this? Obviously, a little bit of good fortune, getting the red safe.
Yeah, you're just thinking in decider, you want one chance. I had my chance, messed it up. And then that red queuing over the pack, I'm leaving reds into the middle pocket. It had to go in, otherwise I'm losing 10-9. And I feel like I've always adopted that where I'd rather try and cross the line and try and win it rather than be given it. So, yeah, just took the ball by the horns and had a great split on the black. That was kind of the key shot. Red split lovely, and from there I thought there's no way I'm missing from here. And I end up showing a fair bit of emotion shortly. I remember match ball. This is match ball red. And I just thought, the pocket felt humongous. I just knew I wasn't going to miss it. And nearly broke my knuckles. I think I slammed the cue here. It's just a lot of emotion coming out, because obviously it's a high pressure situation. I think Jug came back from 9-7, and he was kind of chasing me all day. So obviously 9-all, you're thinking, has my chance gone? But yeah, managed to stay in the present and get the job done.
But this is why things like this, sitting down and having a conversation about it, is good, because one of the notes I've got written down here is obviously it was Ding in the semi-final. One of the funny things that people won't notice is that after you beat Ding, you go up to the camera to blur kiss to Finley and say, "I love you, Finley," in the camera, and the cameraman basically pooed himself and ran away from you.
Yeah, he thought I was chasing him. A little bit lost in translation there between us, but because I knew that obviously you guys were in a bar in Tenerife watching the final for obviously our dad's 50th birthday, so I knew you'd be watching, so it was a bit of a message down the lens.
Well, another thing as well, you obviously had to get a security escort to your hotel after beating Ding. That's how big Ding is in China.
Yeah. I remember. I think there was sort of 4 or 5 security guards had to walk me back. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing in terms of, you know, kind of the success level of beating him out there, or if I was going to get lynched or something on the way back to the hotel. But yeah, pretty cool experience.
You know, watching this now, like, if you look at yourself in this picture in a moment, obviously you've won, that pure elation that kind of overcomes you in a second. When you watch that, what has changed in terms of that version of yourself?
Well, I'll bring him in. Finn, come and stand over here, buddy. So Finley at the time would have been 6 months old. So obviously you would have been out in Tenerife with the rest of the family when I was winning in this. This is the Shanghai Masters. So I remember Sophie going to Tenerife with Finley, obviously newborn baby. Mum couldn't afford to pack nappies in the suitcase for Ryanair for the weight of the suitcase. So we had to kind of focus on getting the nappies out there. So I actually saved up €400 from Mum, Finley. And
Finn sat straight on the mic, by the way.
And she lost them actually at the start of the week. She rang me panicking when I was in China. So yeah, it would have been a bit of a mess, wouldn't it, Finn, if you hadn't have had nappies that week? It's a good job I won it.
Well, moving on. So we're just watching the end now of Kyren obviously lifting the trophy. A big one. So I've only put clips in here that I think have been massive in your career. So this is the 2019 German Masters final against Dave Gilbert. 5-3 up to 7-5 down. I remember this event personally because it was one of the times where I've kind of got to sit and watch a snooker manager talk to a player in a big final and obviously show a bit of emotion at the same time. So obviously Brandon Parker in the dressing room, I remember sitting there, he asked me to sit down and shut up, which is typical Brandon. And I remember him saying to you, "I don't care whether you win or lose, you do it gracefully."
Yeah.
And that is, for me, one of the biggest bits of advice that you could get as a snooker player.
Yeah. Well, he actually referenced Jimmy White, and he said, you know, that's one of the reasons why Jimmy White is the people's champion, because he was always so gracious in defeat as well. You know, it's not always about winning and losing, it's about I think presenting yourself in the right way. It's so difficult actually sometimes to get up and just go shake your opponent's hand and actually go, you know, fair play, because it really hurts at the time. But I tell you what, when you look back on it and you've managed to do that, it's actually quite a rewarding feeling.
I mean, just again, I'm going to ask this question quite a lot, but looking at yourself here, because this is a different cue action, different technique, a different Kyren Wilson completely compared to the one that's now.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got another guest.
Mum wants a phone.
Brilliant.
Come on, we're just doing this podcast.
So, again, what has changed in this position as Kyren Wilson 2019? Different technique, different cue action, a different person, different character.
Different waistline.
Very different waistline.
Yeah. I think I was my technique wasn't good enough here to be a world champion. You know, quite sort of stabby. kind of not, the cueing wasn't good enough under pressure. And not only that, I was a little bit too slow. I think my shot time in this final would have been about 28, 29 seconds.
I remember Barry and Brandon.
They called me after,
the
next day, because we were on our way to Cheltenham, and I think they actually messaged saying, well done, but you need to be a bit quicker. So I actually remember just beating Matthew Stevens in Cheltenham the day after, pretty much 2 days after, because obviously we had to travel back from Germany. And kind of a little bit cabbaged, actually. Didn't really know how to handle it.
It was that and the hangover, to be fair, from obviously being in Germany. But that, for me, I've always said that a happy snooker player is a dangerous snooker player. And when you've got so many different emotions, things off the table that's going on, the sport's hard enough, let alone when you've got extras on top of that. So having having two people that are in your own corner that obviously give that information to you, I can understand why it's so
Well,
pickly.
I think this is a prime example as we speak right now. My life can't fully evolve around doing snooker. You know, you've got my two children that want me to do things with them today. It's a Sunday. We're off to celebrate Sophie's birthday in a minute with a meal. So it is very hard to juggle family life. So as I'm trying to show now, you've got to try and kind of get it all within sort of working it all out, getting everything under control and just kind of gelling everything and going with the moment. It's not always perfect. It's not always sort of scripted. So it's just good to look back on some things, isn't it, Bales?
Well, obviously we're going to have to look at that semi-final in 2020. Obviously you versus McGill, COVID time, no one in the audience, bit of a strange atmosphere.
Remember this one?
What do you think about, in a minute, you're about to see it in a moment, this long red that McGill pots here? I mean, it's an absolute corker and a decider at the Crucible of a semi-final.
Yeah, Anthony was so good during this whole entire match. It was sort of to and fro, and there's the Mr. Miyagi moustache.
But how do you feel when he goes on to make a 39 break here?
Yeah,
and he lands
really
awkward.
Unlucky. Yeah, he went into the pack off of the black and lands nowhere. And I mean, he's zipped through that pack so nicely. To not land on a ball, he was so unlucky. He's actually landed so awkward that he's not got a sort of a nice safety shot either.
Like this moment here now, you sitting in your chair, what goes through your head in that position?
Well, I'm thinking I need to mentally be prepared to step up and take a chance if it comes. At the end of the day, Anthony's potted a long red. If he goes on to win the frame and match there, you kind of take your hat off and you go, what a match. Fair play, good luck for the final. You gutted, but I'm kind of old enough and experienced enough at this point to know that that's how snooker can go. But at the same time, you're not ready to give up. You're sort of saying, you know, there's still plenty on the table, something could go wrong. I need to be ready to take my chance if it comes.
Another note that I've made is the red that you pot in a moment, so obviously no spoilers, and obviously misses this to the middle. This red in a decider it's minging at any stage, but this red now in a decider is unreal.
Well, it's very thin.
Well, what I do want to pick up on is this rest shot here. So again, we're not talking anything about sausages, but this green with a rest is probably one of the reasons why you are the best rest player in the world.
Well, I'm in the conversation, definitely. And obviously it's quite awkward because I haven't got a full white to aim at, so I'm naturally flicking left-hand side on that white there. So there's every chance with the white pushing off to the right first, I could have missed that green thick. This is the shot that I find so bad and it's so amateurish because all I'm thinking is, you know, you can't possibly miss this red. I'm thinking I just need to leave an angle. Leave an angle on the green so I can run off one cushion for the red near the pink. So because I'm thinking leave an angle for the green, I've missed it thin and I've just completely, old schoolboy error, took my eye off the pot. And that's always something Brandon and Barry, for instance, would have said to me back in the day. You know, don't forget the pot. The most important thing is the pot at the end of the day because you're still in control of the table.
But again, like this moment here, you're obviously looking at the table. What goes through your head at this point now?
What, me sat here right now or there?
There.
What a wally, what have you done?
And then again, Ant goes on to pot a cracking red under this amount of pressure.
Yeah, cued it lovely as well.
Perfect on the black.
Not played. A lot of players would try and maybe punch that off of cushions, but
He obviously runs out of position and tries playing the red around the table, leaving the white behind the black. And again, for me, I personally thought this was the shot that would win you win you this match.
yeah, I'm thinking because where the black is, it's naturally obviously covering the pocket, so you haven't got to worry about the red. You're just trying to float the white in behind the yellow, and that is a match-winning shot. And I've played it so well.
It's absolutely to the inch. I think Stephen Hendry absolutely full of praise from this here. And again, in this circumstance, in terms of being a decider, this again, like you said, it can either win you the match or lose you the match.
Yeah, I mean, there was kind of no pressure on it because, as I say, you couldn't possibly leave the red. So you're literally just playing a white ball shot. So as long as I catch the red thin enough, you're almost aiming for the middle pocket to get in behind the yellow. And yeah, I'm thinking, I've probably won the game there because the black seems like a massive target here. And I think
this bit is now sped up.
Yeah, I think he misses
8 times.
Oh right, 8 times. Yeah,
8
I know
attempts
enough for Anthony to then need snookers. I know that. But I'm thinking in my chair, I've played a fantastic shot to get myself into a world final.
Are you at this point? Are you surprised that it's taken 8 attempts to hit this red?
No, not really, because if he knocks the black in and goes round the red, it's game over. If he knocks the red onto the black, it's game over. There's so many different outcomes that could literally lose him this match here. So he's trying to be as cautious and careful as possible to just, nudge the red in a way that he's not going to knock the black in or leave it on. So I think this one was really close.
Yeah.
Yeah, really close. Just a bit short of pace.
So again, 8 failed attempts at this. A massive shot comes straight after this, and it is probably one of the most ludicrous shots I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
What you play?
Brain damage. Absolute brain damage.
What are your thoughts on playing the shot? You'll see it in a second, Finn. But what are your thoughts about playing the shot after this? What are you trying? I know obviously you're aiming for the yellow. You've obviously got free cover with the black over the bag. What are you trying to achieve with this shot? I'll fast forward it so we can actually see it.
Yeah, obviously I can't put Ant back in because he needs a snooker at this point. So if you pause it there, I can't put him back in because he's just going to roll the red to the black, and then it's just a nail biting, please don't pot the black finish. So I'm just thinking, double the red across, try and get it over towards that corner pocket, and get the white at the table out of the way. And I mean, you could never foresee hitting the white on the way back.
Do you know what happens next? What do you think happens next?
I mean, now that I can watch it in still time, because I have barely watched this, to be honest. Really, I should be playing the white off of the side cushion and kicking the red over up the backside. But the problem you've got with that is Ant pots the red, pots the black, and tries to find an angle on a bulk colour to then put me bang in trouble. So it wasn't actually a nice position to be in this.
So at this point, Anthony needs 1 snooker. Okay? And here's what happens next. So your dad's trying to play Finn off the red, double kisses the red. Where's the white end up?
In the pocket.
In the middle pocket.
I mean, what are the chances of that? It was unbelievable, but then, it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Anthony's had so much bad luck splitting the reds and not being on a ball. That's why these long matches are so beautiful, because it can swing.
Well, this as well, obviously, the red over the middle bag here, or I say top side of the middle bag here, obviously you're trying to come off the top cushion and flick the red in. Your first attempt at this, I think you skim it towards the pocket. I think in fact I think you miss it.
First attempt, because I'm having to play this with just a touch of left hand side to straighten up the angle, because the green is in the way of the natural line, and
So
that's why.
I thought you did.
Flick it, yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking that's game over there, because you fancy him to knock it in off the cushion. I mean, again,
is that not enough there to cut that in from the angle of the white?
No, he couldn't cut it in. I always look at the line of where it is in reference to the blue spot, and it's behind it. But you fancy Ant to pot this off here.
So when he misses this, what's your immediate reaction there?
I'm thinking I've won, because I'm going to pot it off the top cushion. But again, because I'm quite... It feels like the jaw of the pocket is in the way, so I'm having to play this with you see the right hand side go on at the end. Yeah, and that's why I hit the cushion and miss it. But I felt like smashing the white there.
So this again now, Ant will have to play this with a touch of right hand side also, right?
Yeah, but not as much as I would have had to, because the white had come over further into the table, so he had more of the cushion to aim at. But he judges it perfect.
So this again, this moment now, I'm going to keep asking the same question. What goes through your head now? I've blown it.
Well, I wouldn't say I've blown it, but I'm thinking it's game over.
And no word of a lie here. I remember sitting, because it was COVID time, I remember sitting in one of the lounges, and because it was myself in one corner, some of the reporters in the opposite corner, and I remember punching the table after he pots the red, thinking the only way this can go wrong is if he overhits the yellow and snookers himself. I'm on my way through, ready to come to the exit for you to walk out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're being ultra critical, he doesn't want to land low on this yellow, really. Like, not too low anyway, because now he's got to use the bulk cushion. Because ideally, if he lands just off straight, you can just stun up towards the green. Whereas using a cushion here, it brings the pink into play.
I can't believe that has made it that far and hit the pink and nudge the pink.
Yeah, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
So again, I've asked you a couple of times already, but this moment now, I think the camera pans back to you. What do you think?
You're like, oh my God, I'm out. Oh my God, I'm in. Oh my God, I'm out.
And then look for it to land, how it lands as well. So at this point again, I've walked out the arena now, because I think now I've seen you back in, I've got to get out, and I'm doing laps around the Winter Gardens. I remember Eurosport saying Jimmy White had said he'd seen me doing laps around the Winter Gardens. I think I'd done about 3 miles by the time this match was finished. So again, the Great Escape, and this is where the absolute madness starts.
Well, I didn't really want to play that. Like, I was annoyed at the way I hit that. I floated that, and I, under pressure, really want to be kind of punching the ball a bit more. But yeah, I didn't cue that at all well. And I think I'd resigned myself a little bit when Ant had potted the red and the black and the yellow. You're thinking you're out there. So I think probably I wasn't mentally prepared to take on that shot. But
well, this now, again, obviously we know what happens after this green. What are your instant thoughts? Because surely emotion at this point just takes over.
Yeah, I'm actually...
You're playing the snooker.
I've played it really poorly, because naturally I couldn't... The angle of the green, the way I've played it, I couldn't get it across off the side cushion and back over towards the black. I'm actually using the kind of the pink and the blue as blockers in a straight line, but I've overhit it, which is going to take the green towards the pocket. So yeah, complete fluke for it to go into the corner pocket. But I mean, the pressure and the stress that we're both under there is just disgusting. And I've grown up with Ant since we were, 10, 11 years old, playing in junior comps. So for what was such an amazing semi-final, didn't want it to end like that. I think I was actually almost in tears there. But the way the match had gone, you're thinking, anything could still happen. So you got to stay in the present.
I think at one point you're almost nearly going off.
Yeah, I don't really like watching this, to be honest.
Did you lose?
No, he ends up winning the match.
Yeah, that's where I nearly went off, a double piece of pink.
And then, to be honest, how you do finish this off with the long pink, how you drop it in, is unreal in this pink now.
Well, yeah, but there's kind of it's a bit of a nothingy pressure shot, because you're just kind of just dribbling it towards the pocket.
Well, when this goes in, that immediate instant, there must have been such a rush of endorphins, emotion, happiness, sadness. There must have been everything going on.
I just felt guilty. I just felt guilty. Yeah, just the way it ended, because I felt like it just deserved a better ending in terms of not ending on a fluke. And that was at a time where you were meant to fist pump, and I think the respect shown between us both, we shook each other's hands, and showing there's no crowd in there, it just shows what a great game this is, that it can still create that drama.
Okay, well, after this, we look at 2 more segments left. We look at the 2023 147 against Ryan Day.
I remember this.
This is class, but funny at the same time. The first question I want to ask is that first red, straight away, being the Crucible, your instant reaction isn't max.
Yes.
So after that red, you thought max straight away?
Well, no, because I landed with the wrong angle on the black. But if I'd have landed low, I'd have straight away been going, right, crack these open, this is a chance. And that's what I would do in practice. But yeah, obviously I landed with the wrong angle, so you can't. There's not enough reds open. But I think that red does go at the bottom of the pack, and if I can get the right angle on it off of this black to open the reds and pop the red, then that could be the chance. And I think that's when I do start to think this has got potential. But also, this is frame number 5, so we've just come back from the interval.
You should have went 3-1 up, I believe, as well.
No, I went 2-0 down. I went 2-0 down and I won back-to-back frames.
Sorry, yeah.
And I started to click because my practice form was very good going into this.
And to be honest, I've written down here that you're the 9th player to make a maximum at the Crucible.
Right.
Yeah.
This now, again, like you just said, 2-0 down, back to 2 each. When you're in this sort of form, and you can see yourself how you're playing now, do you start to think this is my year?
No, you can't do it that early. I think you always I feel like if I get to the Crucible and I get a sense of how my practice game is, how my form is during my first round match, I do get a sense of you feel if you're there or not. But then to kind of combat that, I'm now experienced enough to know that if it's not quite going for me, I am able to turn it around and find my form. And I think that's probably a mentality thing rather than a talent thing.
I mean, a max in one of the earlier rounds, is that not enough to turn around and go, right, I'm in for... Because I remember getting at Barrett's for 9 a.m, 9 till 4 p.m, so you can come home seeing the kids for 2-3 hours, come back round here and having a knock here for 2-3 hours in the evening. For me, this was the biggest moment of, right, this is the year where it's going to happen, in my own opinion of obviously being around it.
Was this Luca Brazil this year?
Luca Brazil won this year, yeah.
John Higgins, this is when... So I obviously go on to win this game against Ryan.
But you lost to John Higgins.
Well, I've actually made a note about this, that obviously you come into the 2024 event, and obviously you end up playing John Higgins in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So going back to the draw and stuff, that in your own mind, when you come back to play against someone like John, knowing what's just happened the year before, Is that you on a bit of a back burner already?
Well, you're obviously thinking like you got hammered. You got hammered the year before, so it felt like the game for me to win if I was going to go on and win it. But doesn't mean if you win that you're guaranteed. But it obviously would then give me confidence and set me up. But I knew to beat John Higgins at the Crucible, you have to go some, because if he's not quite playing well, he's going to make it as difficult as possible. And then if he's playing well, it's even more difficult because he's one of the best of all time. So it's just so challenging, and there's kind of no real weakness in his game. So
does that give you the extra edge though when you're playing him, knowing what happened the year before? Does that then make you think, right, I need to teach you a lesson, but almost like you've got a bit of a grudge against what happened the year before?
No, not really. I think you've got to play better and you've got to play well, so it makes it kind of easy in that way. If you don't play well, you're going to get beat by him. But you've got to beat these sort of players to lift the biggest titles, and I don't know, I just started to feel... I remember playing Dominic Dale in the first round, and I beat Dominic quite comfortably.
Nearly had a max there as well in the last round.
Yeah, I think I missed on 80 odd. But Dom turned to me and said, "This is the best I've seen you strike the ball." He said, "I fancy you to win it this year." So, even hearing that sort of thing from one of your peers, you think, right, let's go. I've got a bit of a chance this year. But you don't get too far ahead of yourself, but silently you're very confident.
That stinks already. Can't believe you've just done that on the podcast.
So evacuate the room.
We're going to look into this. What are your thoughts when Jack takes on the double and misses the double?
17-14. I mean, he's trying to make things happen, isn't he? And I think he held himself together very well and fought back really, really strongly. But I'm now thinking this is my chance to win the title and win the biggest tournament of my career. I
remember the mid-session, the break just before coming back out. I remember, because they've got those little cameras in the changing room, you kind of have to be really strict on what you're doing. You can't really just fully relax. And
that was a nice shot, by the way.
The yellow to come down. Well,
yeah.
I think the plant, obviously, for me, is one of the best shots I think you've ever played. It opens up the rest of the reds. It kind of makes it an opportunity then to win the match, win the
plants
tournament.
Are missable, but I mean, it was handy. I'm playing into an area. I'm almost using that red near the side, thinking if I land near it, I've either got the plant or the bottom red.
I mean, we're playing it at this point now, so the reds are there now, aren't they? The reds, you're in amongst it now to make this happen, to win the World Championships. Yeah. What must be going through your head is that you are about to be a world champion if you can take this out. Well,
you don't want to think like that because you're just going to lump pressure onto yourself.
But can you stop yourself thinking that way?
Not really. Not really. It's there, isn't it? I mean, I didn't play the best of shots there. I just lost the white slightly.
Well, it's this now as well.
Hampered.
Another note that I've made is obviously you're hampered on this red. The next pink that you take is again one of the best shots I've seen. It's a hard shot in a first frame of any sort of event, let alone to potentially be a world champion.
Yeah, and there was no way I wasn't going to go for it. You're naturally cannon in the red, so you haven't got to do anything with the white. You just got to focus on the pot. But that's always something I've been very proud of. I'll always back myself and try and win the game. I'll always try and take on that difficult pot.
That is what I was saying about the interval. I remember you coming out and saying you don't know how you can win this match. You don't feel like you're at that position where you're going to win the match sort of thing. And I remember having that conversation saying, well, you don't fall over the line. You win the match.
Yeah, and even that cannon went wrong. I'm trying to hold for the red into the bottom right corner. And I end up leaving the red to the right middle. And the middle pockets on these star tables are so tight. You don't really want this shot, so this was a good shot as well. I'm just trying to go through my cue action, stick to my routine that I've adopted, and just do all the basics right. Really, you don't want to overthink things, and then Thinking brown, playing to an area.
So yeah, that's like, again, people that are sat at home listening to this now, they obviously want to know what it's like being under that pressure, because the black sitting there, it, like, obviously the brown is the right shot to come back down the table to play for the three reds.
Yeah, you have to keep playing the right shot. You can't bail out and play an easy shot.
So what's it like now? What's in your mind right now? Think about, put yourself back in that position. What do you go for in this point?
Well, like I said before, you want to cue through the ball, really. You want to kind of, I'd rather be punching through the ball. And I'm thinking if I use the top cushion, I can just go through it. You know, there's no hesitance in your cue action. You just strike through the ball. And I use the bottom cushion knowing if I overhit it, I've got the two reds. If I underhit it, I've got a cut back. And I was actually sort of betwixt and between there.
Well, this is another good shot in and out of bulk, in between brown and green.
Yeah, I was just chasing it. Obviously, you can probably sense the pressure I'm under.
You actually hear Stephen Hendry in this say his cue ball isn't exactly on a piece of string, but he's potting the balls and they're going in.
It was on a bungee. I think my cue ball's definitely improved. But I'm just thinking in and out of bulk, avoid the bulk colours, almost land anywhere near the blue spot, and you've got the choice of two reds into the left corner pocket or the right corner pocket. And
are you thinking about the blue spot at this point?
The blue spot's in my mind to aim towards, just to give me a rough guide, because obviously you're shaking like mad. You're thinking, I just need to get over the line here. But now it's mini butt time. And as I'm walking, it's giving me time to think, and I'm literally saying to myself, if this red goes in, you're a world champion. It's as simple as that.
Is that why there's the
That's why I go mad from it, yeah.
Strike this through.
Go through the cue action.
Are you playing on a colour here, or?
Well, you're naturally on pink or blue, but I knew that was it. And then obviously all the family, you see Finn there.
That makes me laugh every single time I watch this.
He was brilliant. He was well animated during that final, bless him. I think he found a new love for the sport during that, actually, Finley did, because he's always kind of been more into his football, but yeah.
It's that now you can hear the screams, you can hear Sophie scream.
Sophie's screaming at the top, yeah. I think
I'm in this corner here, and I remember Mark Williams from security holding me back, trying to stop me from running out onto the stage, not quite remembering that the game is still going on.
The thing is, you've got, like, for instance, mum and dad there, they've remortgaged so many times, and they're there to share that moment. It's massive. It's absolutely huge. Like, so many emotions are running through your mind at this point.
Is that I can't see anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it might have been Sophie. Someone shouted, "Come on, Kai." And I was like, I can't even see, or something like that. I wish I'd stop sticking my tongue out like that. I look like such a tit.
What do you... So at the end here, obviously you just hit this red now. It's here now where you turn around and say, I can't see anymore.
Yeah.
What do you say to Jack? Because again, something that I don't even know. What did you say to Jack in this moment where obviously you walk over? Are you half expect? There's no way you're obviously expecting him to come back to the table at this point.
No, you know it's done there, but no, I think I just said something along the lines of, listen, considering not only that's your first final, I said you handled yourself absolutely fantastically there, and you came back and sort of, you should be proud of yourself. Thing is, you don't want to come across like patronising or like disrespectful. You have got to be careful what you say, because the emotions can take over and you might say something you don't mean. But I always try my best to be respectful.
But I remember you saying something in the interview when Hazel comes over. You said, how embarrassing would it have been if I'd have lost and Bailey's dressed like this?
Yeah, that's lush, by the way. I just seen Finley, when he lifts his head, he goes, "Dad, you're world champion. You've done it."
No, it's here now.
No, he did it. He did it before. Oh, yeah, no, he says it there. You're right. He says, "Dad, you're world champion. Get in there." And Bailey's dressed in the suit. Bless him.
And do you know what? That's like for the boys to go over to Jack and congratulate him.
Yeah,
without even being told to.
We didn't tell either of them to go and do it. They're very respectful lads, so Sophie's done a good job with them.
I went over to Jack at this point as well, and I remember shaking his hand, talking to him, and there was a few like effing and jeffing in there, just saying it gave me a massive scare, nearly gave me a heart attack. He's such a I just remember hurling positives at him, just saying like, you're such a good player, congratulations, you've been unreal.
I bet he's thinking, shut up, mate.
I know, he's looking at me.
Absolute waffle.
He's looking at me going, you scumbag, go away.
Yeah, at that point I was telling Mum and Dad to come down because obviously with Dad being on crutches, he didn't want to come down and potentially trip over. But there was we'd have piggybacked him on, to be fair. But,
watching this now, when you watch this, what does that make you feel now?
Yeah, it makes you feel up, it makes you want to cry. And I remember I visualised kissing this now and lifting it in the air. What time for a wasp? So I kissed that, but I'd already seen it so many times, kissed it, lifted it in the air, and the spine-tingling sensation there, incredible. And the kids enjoyed the confetti.
I remember going through things with Chris, obviously, from
Mum and Dad.
Eccleston Park hypnotherapy. I remember the visualisation aspect of, in your mind, feeling the confetti hit you on the head. And that is actually something that I did personally on your behalf to watch you. So there, I put a load of confetti in my pocket to walk away with. I've still got it in that same suit at home.
Yeah, I always keep the confetti. I think it's when you look back on your career, that's what will bring you back to that moment. Little things like that.
Yeah, it's mad. Yeah, wow, that sums up 2024. So, thank you for being here watching. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry about Bailey's pump earlier. If you enjoyed the episode, we are going to be doing more of this going forward. Hopefully going to get Martin and Louis on very, very soon. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Share with any of your snooker friends, sports friends, so on and so forth. We are hoping to collaborate with other sports stars very, very soon. Big thank you to Kyren for being here. Like I said, share with your friends. See you next time.
Shoo.